Yes, it is.
There's a little bit of a
There's a
delay.
big delay between us.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there. I'm Jennifer Valdes. I'm a director. I'm here with Genoveva Rossi.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Genoveva Rossi. I'm an actress and I'm also a tarot card reader and psychic medium. Hi.
How's everybody doing? Thank you very much for having us here. We love horror movies. We love to make horror, right? Right, Jen? You like to
Absolutely,
be a
that's what
horror
we're all
movie
about.
actress?
Absolutely, we're all about making.
Your mic.
Yep. I've been acting for a few years, and I was actually my first horror film was with you, Jen, Jacko Slasher. So we have a nice long history together.
Yeah, I think that Indie Horror TV actually
So
has
it's
some
fun that
trailers
we're.
of Jacko Slasher that they're showing previously throughout the night. And yeah, Jacko Slasher was my first film. I started working at Troma, doing video editing, and then I decided I wanted to do my own film projects, and that's when I started to write and direct, and I started to do Jacko Slasher. I think it was um what year was Jacko Slasher? 2011 is when we shot Jacko Slasher. And in 2013, the movie got distribution, which is pretty exciting for us indie horror filmmakers. And Genevieve plays a sexy Satanist in the
Mhm.
film. She has some quirky lines. It's a horror comedy, so there's a lot of crazy characters. There's a homicidal hot dog man, which is played by my father, Pablo Valdes. And I do a cameo in the movie as a evil psychotic clown. Everybody loves evil clowns, except if you're scared of them, then you
Yeah.
came to the right place, right? Indie horror TV, because that's we're here to scare you. We're here to scare the crap out of you. So what did we do last weekend, Genevieve?
Indeed. We went to Monster Mania for a couple of days and had some fun there. It was great. Robert Englund was there, a whole bunch of other stars. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I'm glad you guys love horror. We're getting some comments that people love horror. And what are we working on now? Right now, what are you working on, Genevieve?
Well, right this very moment, I'm working on actually a bunch of things. I'm working on a Trailer Heaven, which is directed by Michael Chartier. About you got a part in that as well. It's about cannibal transvestites living in a trailer park. So that's really exciting. I know that's premiering at I think Luna Fest, a horror film festival tomorrow. Actually, they're going to be showing like a trailer for it, a teaser. And then Hunters, directed by Adam Ambrand, starring Linnea Quigley and Tina Kraus. That's going to be a really vile, brutal, and disgusting horror film that I'm really excited about. So those are two really exciting projects that I'm working on in the horror genre. And then I'm working on some things that aren't horror too. I'm kind of mixing it up a little bit. So what about you, Jen? What are you up to?
Oh, how exciting. That sounds great, Genevieve. I'm working on a couple of different things right now. I'm doing an anthology by female film directors. It's going to be called Dawn of the Femmes, and I'm directing one out of the four shorts. And it's going to be a black and white romantic horror love story, if you will. It's going to be really, really crazy about a guy. It's called Isabel, and it's about a guy who digs up his dead wife and treats her body like she's alive. And it's very creepy, very Tim Burton-ish. If you guys like that kind of thing, I hope you do. So we got another question coming in. How long did the Brain Eater show start, and how long has it been running for? The Brain Eater show I've been doing for almost 10 years now. Um, how did it start? Me and my
Wow.
me and a friend of mine had just started messing around with cameras, and I was just out of high school, and I was going right into college, and I was messing around in editing class, and we came up with this show. and we love to do skit comedy. And now me and my sister together direct and produce the show. So it's skit comedy, it's bands, it's live music. Um, and it's just a lot of fun. We've met a lot of celebrities over the years. You know, we've gotten to hang out with different famous bands like Guar, you know, Fear Factory, and a lot of really awesome, you know, like label bands. And you know, it's been really, really cool. It's been a fun ride with the Brain Eater show. You know, we worked really hard. You know, we've done a lot of interviews. You know, do you guys have any more questions over there? If not, we're gonna talk a little bit more about our projects that we have going on. Genoveva, check this out.
Yeah, I like to talk about things that I have that are kind of out and available for you to actually watch or buy. Like I just went after Monster Mania on my way home. In a sense, I went out to Philadelphia, which wasn't really on my way home, but I went out there anyway to see the Apocalypse Kiss premiere. That's a sci-fi thriller. It has some horror elements though, because it does follow a serial killer 40 years in the future, and it stars DC Douglas. Also, Carmela Hazard-Grillo, Tammy Jean are in it. Tom Atkins from Halloween and Lethal Weapon, and Michael Berryman, who's a friend of mine. That was a lot of fun. I play like kind of like a pregnant hippie character. I'm 9 months pregnant in that film, and that's actually available on Netflix. And it's actually going to be on demand shortly in April as well. So that's a fun film. So that's, you know, everybody's going to be able to watch that pretty soon. And I'm also involved in the Fear of Web series produced by Scott Perry. I'm in 4 episodes. I star in Fear of Blindness and Fear of Sexual Assault. Fear of Blindness is directed by Jeremiah Kipp. And that's an amazing episode starring Susan Adrianson, who's a good friend of mine. And Fear of Sexual Assault, written and directed by Bradley Carranzo, and both of us star in that one. So that's something I'm really excited about. That's going to be on Italian TV, and I'm sure it's going to be available in a lot of other mediums. That's also been in Fangora magazine. Also, Flesh of the Beast, Suzuko's Curse. I'm in episode 4 with Edward X. Young. That's been written about in Fangora. That's going to be on Netflix, Hulu, PlayStation 2, who knows where else. You know, I'm sure that'll be popping up all over. So those are some projects I'm really, really excited about. Also, Dark Place Inside has distribution. That's available, I think, by now, too. So what about you, Jen? Talk about some things that you have that are out there that people can watch.
Okay.
You have Jacko Slasher, but
we'll definitely talk about those, and we have a couple of questions. So first we'll talk about Jacko Slasher, the original DVD that we made, and then Jacko Slasher. I don't know if you could see that in the packaging with distribution from SRS Cinema. So there you go.
Wonderful.
So that's Jacko Slasher.
Wonderful.
Which is actually available in stores in New York. You can get it at Kim's Video and Forbidden Planet. And you can also get it at 112 Video and Looney Tunes, which are stores out in Long Island. So New York City and Long Island both carry the Jacko Slasher DVD. Then let's talk a little bit about To Love Is to Die, which is a project that we worked on together, Genoveva.
Yes. Another project we worked on together. Yep, that was a fun one.
Yeah. What was your character in To Love Is to Die?
I play kind of like a jealous girlfriend. That, you know, with a bad temper, it would seem.
A homicidal, jealous girlfriend. Yeah, To Love
You
Is to
call it
Die
homicidal, I say bad temper.
It just aired on the channel. It was a Valentine's Day themed short about basically saying that you get what you pay for in love, you know, and you might get your heart ripped out, literally. You know, did you have fun with that one?
I did Karma Can Be a Cruel Mistress. That was a what?
Did you have fun shooting that one?
Yeah. I had fun with that one. It was nice, being violent and getting to be really crazy. I definitely got to be very insane. I know you want my character to be super duper insane, so it was fun to kind of play that kind of character. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely. That was a great series. It's beautifully shot, very artistically done, I would say as well too. Very
Yes,
nicely
it was
edited.
beautifully shot by
So,
our cinematographer Bradley Crienzo, and he also did the lighting on that piece, and he also did the lighting and the cinematography on Jacko Slasher. So we've been very lucky to work with such a gifted person. And let's talk about our latest movie that I co-directed, Escape from Kings Park, which is coming out this month. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's coming out this month.
this month? I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's going to be coming out very soon.
Wow.
I co-directed this with Samuel Oswald Stone, and he also did the music. And I forgot to mention, let's just go back for a second, that this music, the music in To Love Is to Die was award-nominated music.
Oh, very good. You got that at the Macabre Film Festival, is that
The
correct?
Cobb Film Festival.
Where did it get the award?
It was nominated for an award at
that's
the
what I thought.
Macabre Film Festival. Yeah. Oh wow, it's all washed out. You can't really see it. Oh,
Very good.
So, what else is going on? Let's see. Let's go to some of the questions. LP Downfall 26 wants to know what it's like to write, produce, and present your product to a larger audience. That's a very good question. It's hard. It's very hard, and I don't want to give you a one-word answer. You know, it's when you're doing everything, when you're wearing all the hats in a situation, when you're producing, when you're directing, when you're trying to get your own product out there, it's a very difficult thing. You know, it's one of the hardest things, but you believe in your product. You believe, you know, in your art, you believe that your creativity needs to find the right audience, and that's what keeps pushing you forward, you know. And I really truly believe that, you know, that if you want something, that you can go out and get it, and you know, just keep pushing along. Producing is very hard. You have to deal with a lot of different things, a lot of different people, you know. If you're writing your own scripts and you're producing and you're directing and you're, you know, let's say you're even doing camera, you're doing all these things, it's a lot of hats to wear. You know, I'm lucky enough right now that I work at New York Film Academy, and I have the availability to resources that, you know, that wouldn't have been available to me otherwise. So I'm in a very lucky position right now where I'm networking with people in my field, you know, so that's always important too. You know, I think for so long that I've tried to do every single job, directing, editing, you know, special effects, even, you know, every single job I did myself. You know, I think I've gotten to the point where I've realized that I need to ask for help. I need some people that are, you know, a team that I can build together, that, you know, that I can count on. And it's hard work, but it's worth it in the end. You know, I think Genoveva would agree, as an actress, it's really hard work. You know, you don't just go on set and then, you know, you're famous the next day. It's really, you have to hone your craft. I can't even hear her.
Well, anything in life that's worth doing is a lot of. You have to really want it. You have to be very ambitious. You have to be very hardworking, and you have to have perseverance. You got to stick to it, you know. And not everybody has that kind of heart and that kind of commitment. And that's probably who's successful and who's not successful. You know, being a director is not easy. It's very complicated. You have to be very organized. To be an actress, you have to be extremely ambitious. You have to be able to take no and keep on going until you get yeses, until you're getting yourself out there, promote yourself, network, and just be relentless, you know, really. It's all about your ambitions and perseverance, really.
Yeah, and just
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're a writer, Genoveva, but You know, when you write something, it's like your baby, and it's hard to let go of that, you know, and give it to someone else to direct. You know, when you write something, you might want to direct it yourself, and then you don't want to let go of that. So you just want to edit it, and you want to be involved in every single step of the process of filmmaking, because it just becomes, you become obsessed with it in a way, you know, and, you know, yeah, that's,
In a sense, it has to be your passion,
yeah,
you know, right? Got to
exactly.
be passionate. Acting, you have to be passionate about acting because you're going to be successful in it. It's got to be like a really big driving force in your life, I think.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like on the ABCs of Death short that I shot, that was the first time that I've ever tried to direct
Mhm.
someone else's work. That's some, you know, something that someone else had written that wasn't my own, you know, and I think that I came through pretty well with that, you know, being that it wasn't mine, you know, and I still was putting my name out there as to represent someone else and try to please them, you know. That's an even harder thing to do, to try to make somebody else happy, and try to live through to try to live someone else's vision through your eyes and make it what they were looking for, you know. It's so difficult. So being a director is just a really hard thing to do, because most of the time it's not going to be something that you wrote. It's going to be something that somebody else wrote, and then they ask you to come and direct it for them. So it's a really, really,
Well, but
really
acting is
high
about,
tension job, you know.
if, mhm. Well, acting is very
Okay.
much like that too, because the directors, the writer are the kind of like the boss in that sense, and you as an actor are trying really, really hard to be what the director, what the writer envisioned the character being, not what you think the character should necessarily be, but what they think the character is supposed to be, what they envision for the character, what their image is in their mind, and then
Exactly.
like communicating and discovering what that is, and making it a reality, so it's a collaboration. All this kind of stuff, really, anything with filmmaking is really teamwork and a huge collaboration between the director, the producer, all the people helping out on set with the lighting and such, and the actors themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody's a team.
Yeah, definitely. So we have another question coming in from I Drive a Shitty Car. Have either of you seen any good independent horror movies lately that you would recommend? Genoveva?
That's a good question. An independent horror film that I would recommend, that I'm not in, that you're not in, that we're not involved in.
Well, it doesn't have to
That's a
be
good
one we're not
question.
in. You could be in it.
Okay. Well, I saw Apocalypse Kiss on Sunday, so I recommend that.
Yeah.
What else? What else would you recommend, Jen?
I recommend that
I'm
you
trying to
go
think
out
of
and see
movies I've seen in the
Jacko
last.
Slasher and Escape from King's Park and To Love Is to Die. And you know, we also have an Indiegogo going for Isabel for Dawn of the Femmes. If you guys feel like you have any extra money that you can give, that would be awesome too. That would be awesome. Give me your money.
Send it to Jen. And I'd also recommend A Dark Place Inside, Perseveration, Bible Belt Slasher 2, Night Games, Flesh of the
Separation.
Beast, I Swear Your Gods. So many things to recommend. Sheriff Tom, Witch's Blood, which will be coming out soon. Zombies Inc. is another really great one. Whole bunch of films. The list goes on and on.
I suggest that you go out and see Patrick from Zombie Hunters movie, Hemorrhage. That looked like a really good one too. And there's some other movie too, Michael Mahoney's movie. What is that? Dark Place Inside, right? Are you in that one? You're in that one.
Yeah, I'm in that. Rob and I actually play parents of Andy, a young man who's going to grow up to become a serial killer. So that's actually was a pretty intense role for both of us. I was at the premiere, and it was, it's a very intense, very serious film about a serial killer. Great film. I would definitely recommend that. That has distribution, and that's out there, I think, now and available. So, A Dark Place Inside by Michael Mahoney. Check that out for sure.
So we
The
have.
Soulless is something that'll probably be coming
Oh,
out in the coming months as well. Chris Ellenstein in that. I play a gypsy in that, and I also play like kind of a soldier going around killing zombies. Also, you mentioned Patrick. I'm in Zombie Hunters episode 9 and 10. 10 was just released a couple weeks ago at a comic convention in New York City, and I was there at the premiere, and that's really exciting. So, episode 9 and 10, I play a National Guard soldier in that series. I got to wear camouflage and carry around an M16.
Awesome.
So that was fun.
Awesome. So we have a question coming in for you, Genoveva.
Yeah. Me with an M.
How did you start out acting,
Okay.
and what inspired you to start?
Well, I guess always since I was a little kid, I did like little plays in school. I did some short films when I was in college and such. And then I've always been a really big fan of the horror genre. I've been going to the Chiller Convention since I was a little kid. I've been reading Fingora since I was a little kid. And I've always been a huge fan of Barbara Steele, Ingrid Pitt, Dark Shadows, Laura Parker, all these people. Such a geek I am. That it was just a natural segue. And then one day, your sister Fallen posted on my Facebook that you were working on a movie called Jacko Slasher. So then that's when the acting and the horror genre kind of started merging. And then from there, I met Patrick and started doing Zombie Hunters. And then I met James Balsamo, and I did I Spill Your Guts. And then I was like, what would happen if I put myself 100% into doing horror films? And now I'm up to 38 IMDb credits, and I probably have more like 45, 50 on my resume. And I've also been doing non-horror movies. I just did a film. I'm doing 2 days on a film this week called Tapestry, where Burt Young, Tina Louise from Gilligan's Island, and Stephen Baldwin. So I do definitely go into other areas, but a big focus for me is horror movies.
You met James Balsamo and
sometimes
Bradley Crienzo on my film shoot, didn't you, on Jacko Slasher?
Well, that's true. And then I went on to be in Night Games and Bible Belt Slasher 2 with Bradley Crienzo as well. And then most recently, we were in Agoraphobia, Fear of Sexual Assault together, which he directed and starred in with me. And also Fear of Blindness, directed by Jeremiah Kipp, that we both star in. So we've have an extensive relationship then. We've been in a lot of films together. I've been actually in a lot of films with James Balsamo. I Spill Your Guts, Cool as Hell, Catch of the Day. And then we've also, we're both actors in Blood Slaughter Massacre, as was Bradley Crienzo. So our lives have all been interwoven since that mystical day on Jacko Slasher. I also met Bob Sachi there.
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Yeah, you're laughing. Bob. Bob and I think Bob has the record for the actor I've been in the most films with, and had the most scenes with. We're in Skid Row together, by Michael Sargenovich. We're in a bunch of James Balsamo movies together. Wow, we're in some Jeremiah Kipp films, including Fear of Blindness.
Now, are any of the films that you're in Fear of films, are they playing at the Horror Hound weekend? Genoveva? Are you there? She's frozen. Anyway, it looks like we have some technical difficulties with Genoveva. But I'm still here. How you guys doing? What's your best advice for someone just starting out? Let's see. For someone just starting out.
I lost you there, but I'm back now.
Genoveva, she's back.
I'm back. You missed me?
What's our best advice for someone just starting out?
Well, I would say
networking.
I always tell people that the most important, that's important networking. But then also I would say the most important rules for an actor are: 1, be reliable; 2, never bring drama on the set; and 3, be talented. And those things are extremely important. So definitely honing your craft, definitely being reliable, and definitely not bringing any kind of drama or issues. And as you said, networking is super, super important. A lot, like I met all these people at Jacko Slasher that I later worked with, kept me really busy. That was networking. Ideally as an actor, every set you're on should lead to the next set you're on. And that's usually how that works out for me. Like I started this week with Scars of the Predator, that my friend Andy Troy's directing, and now I'm finishing the week on the set of Tapestry with Stephen Baldwin. And that's how life should work ideally, because people see you working, they know you're a good actor, and then you get recommended to your next film. Everybody on the set is a potential director or actor or producer. So you got to meet people, talk.
All right. And I guess the advice I would give someone who's just starting out as a director is don't stop writing is one of them. Definitely don't stop writing. Like you said, be reliable, be somebody that you can count on, I don't know. Just, I don't know.
I would say too, be organized, because so many directors that I know are not organized. And I think being really organized with your shot list, knowing exactly what you want to accomplish, knowing what you want from your actors are all really, really helpful. You can't really be too organized when it comes to that.
Yeah, definitely. Planning your shot list
opinion.
is very important. Make sure that you plan everything out. If you can, have an assistant director. Don't try to do everything by yourself. Assistants are very important. Don't be afraid to depend on someone else. Don't be afraid to rely on someone else. Because in this business, we've got to, it's give and take. We've got to rely on each other. Right, Genoveva? I rely
Absolutely.
on you.
And you're right. You can't. So. Well, we're a team. When you work on a film, you're really like a team. The director is kind of like the captain of the team, and he tells you what you need to do. It's almost like football, maybe. And he has a plan, or she has a plan, and a course of action that we need to take. But we're all part of this team, and we all have to work together if we're going to make a great movie.
Exactly, Genoveva. All right, so we have another question. What are your influences? What have you watched that inspired you to go out and make what you're making? For me, probably just like me being born a child of the 80s. I'm very inspired by like Killer Clowns from Outer Space and all movies that like from the 80s, like Critters and like what's going on over there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, like Killer
Yeah,
Clowns.
I can hear you.
Okay. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like my number one, like probably horror comedy influence. But then I really like Alfred Hitchcock,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean The Birds, Psycho.
Get shut. Do you like Dario Argento at all, Jen? Are you influenced
I love
by him at
Dario
all, or no?
Argento. I love Dario Argento. I love Suspiria. Have you seen Suspiria?
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful movie.
Absolutely. That's one of his best films. I've also seen Trauma. I loved Cat o' Nine Tails, Deep Red, Creepers, a whole bunch of his movies. Opera. I'm big fan of his work, and I brought him up because he's almost like the Italian Alfred Hitchcock, or almost the gory Alfred Hitchcock in a sense. So I'm a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock as you are as well.
Yeah.
And Killer Clowns from Outer Space changed my life. I love the movie. I can't stop watching that. I love that.
Me too. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then there are also I'm losing you a little bit. I'm trying to hear you, but I don't know what you said.
You've been fading in and out a little bit too, but I can mostly hear you, so it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so let's take another question. What's the hardest moment of rejection that you had to go through to where you are now? Have you had
Wow.
any
Is that a
rejection?
question for both of us?
I guess so, yeah. That's a question for both of us, I guess.
Well, I sent out my resume and I've contacted a lot of people, especially early on in my acting career. And then some people didn't maybe think I was right for certain roles or maybe didn't think I was what they wanted. But I don't really let rejection get to me too much. I just, if I send out like 10 resumes, I might hear back from 2 people and I could live with that. And then I put myself out there and I always have the attitude in my mind. And I think to be a successful director or actor, you almost have to be a little bit of a narcissist and you kind of have to believe in yourself no matter what. You have to believe that you are unique, you are wonderful, you are creative, and you are going to excel and you are going to, and you're amazing in your own regard. And you have to stick with that. So if people reject you, you know what? That's their error. And you're going to move on to the next person and they're going to say yes. And then you're going to seize that opportunity. You're going to make it your own. You can't let the rejections get you down and discourage you. You have to be optimistic and you have to look at the positive.
That's the
What
same
about
way
you,
that
Jen? What do you think?
That's the same way that I would deal with the situation, Genevieve. The same way I would deal with the rejection, just don't let it get to you. Just keep going. Just push forward. Be a strong, independent actress or director or creative person, whatever kind of person you are. Just don't let anybody crush your spirit. And it's a very hard thing in this business, because there are a lot of people that live to crush you down and live to push you down, in this business. This is a difficult business, especially if you get to Hollywood, if you become like a famous Hollywood, actress or something or director. It's just
Mhm.
you people do not have the right kind of respect for each other in this world, I really feel. And people will
Mhm.
people will try to crush you.
I would
There's a
agree.
lot of jealousy.
Mhm.
There's a lot of jealousy out there in this business.
Exactly.
And that's
I would even go so far as, oh, let me, you're clicking in and out.
yeah, I'm not hearing you so
But I
good.
would go as far as say that
Her computer.
you become, the more successful you become as a director or an actor, the more enemies and the more people will be jealous of you and the more negativity you may attract. But you have to be able to persevere through that. And you have to believe in yourself no matter what. If you get a bad review as a director, you can't let it get to you. You have to focus on the positive and you have to keep on pushing forward. If you're an actor, anything creative is highly subjective. Are you a good actor? Are you a bad actor? Are you a wonderful director? Are you a terrible director? That's subjective. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. You can't let it get to you. It's just an opinion. It's what you think that matters the most.
Okay, here's a question for me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Here's a
Okay.
question for me. What did you
Okay.
find harder, being a director or being an actor? And what would you say was the hardest moment of your career and why? That's all right. Well, let me answer the first part of the question first. What do I find harder, being a director or an actor? I'd say being a director is harder to me. I don't know, to other people, but to me, it's being a director because you have to coordinate like sometimes 50 people, 100 people, and you have to know every inch of like what you're doing from the moment of the moment the shoot starts till the end of the day. You have to know, you have to be on a schedule, you have to be organized, you have to, it's a very difficult job. So I would say for the first part of the question that being a director to me is harder than being an actor. But Genoveva might disagree because being an actor is hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm just saying that being a director is very demanding. They're both hard though. And the second part of the question is the hardest moment of my career. Wow. The hardest moment of my career was probably my first film. It was probably the pressure of my first film when my mom was going in for nose surgery, and my dad called me when I was on the set and said your mom's nose is about to collapse, and I had to cancel the shoot for the day because I was so filled with grief of what was going to happen to my mom, that I couldn't even concentrate. So that was probably one of the hardest moments for me, having to cancel a shoot where I had 40 extras on the set ready to act, and that was a tough one for me. So I'd say that. I'd say that one. Landfill Brian, to sell your movies, are you hitting a lot of conventions other than the ones we just saw in Jersey? If so, do you enjoy the convention scene, or is it more of a pain in the bleep? Um, Landfill Brian, I love going to conventions. I'm the biggest nerd you'll ever meet. I'm the biggest fan of going to conventions and hanging out with people and drinking and meeting celebrities and just being in the horror circuit. I have so many horror autographs at home. My whole wall is filled with all horror movie stuff. All signed by my favorite horror movie artists. So I would say I love going to conventions. What about you, Genoveva?
I love it. I've been doing it before I was an actress. Ever since I was a kid, I was going to Chiller, I was going to Fengor, and Monster is something I started going to additionally, and Bizarre AC, and all these wonderful conventions. I love the people. I love buying movies. I'm a fan. I'm an actress. So I get to embrace both of those things at the convention. So I have a lot of fun. They're very social, but they're also kind of business oriented, and it's great to see screenings of your own films. And it's a big accomplishment for me to know that the people that I saw as a fan of horror, like Linnea Quigley and Michael Berryman, are people that I've actually worked with now too. Tina Kraus, people like that. Deborah Rashawn. It's wonderful to have come full circle in that way, from a fan to being someone that's involved in the scene. But I'm still just a fan too, and I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun.
Cool, Genevieva. The first part of the question was actually to sell the movies. Am I hitting a lot of conventions? And the answer is I have distribution, so the movies are available online. They're available in some stores. So I don't hit the conventions really to sell the movies more than just to network and have fun. I do sell some copies when I'm out there, but I don't go there to sell the movies. I go there to enjoy myself. So that's the answer to that one. Thank you, Landfill Brian.
Lucky you, Jen. That's good.
All right. Did either of you go to film or acting school, or did you sort of learn on your own? Did you go to acting school?
Not per se. When I was going for my bachelor's degree, I took some classes in acting. My bachelor's degree is not in a field related to acting. It's actually English with a minor in journalism, and I have a bookkeeping certificate from a New York University, believe it or not. But I did take some classes in acting when I was in college. Absolutely. That was some of my free electives were acting classes. And then I did some plays when I was in school, high school and such, and I did short films in college. So, I learned a lot of things hands-on, as well as taking classes. What about you, Jen?
Well, I went to film school and I went to acting classes, so I did both. I was acting since a very young age, and I always did plays, and musical theater and stuff like that. And then I went to film school at St. John's University, where I actually studied television first, and then I got into film, and that's where I started editing when I was in college. And now, 10 years later, here I am. I have my own TV show. I have a couple movies out. It's pretty cool. Hey, TV Land. Oh, no, it's not TV. It's Indie Horror TV. Hey, Indie Horror TV.
Yeah, we're on Indie Horror TV now. Look at how far we've come. There you go. Wonderful, right? Exciting.
Okay, we have a question from I Drive a Shitty Car. Do you have any crazy question? Do you have Do you have any crazy stories from any of your sets, such as police involvement or injuries? Crazy stories from my
That's
sets. Police involvement. One time on the Brain Eaters show, we were shooting a zombie scene, and my friend JP was dressed as a zombie. And we were in public. We were in front of someone's house, and they looked out the window, and they thought that someone got hit by a car, and they got bloodied up, and they called the cops. And the cops came, and they yelled at us, and they told us, if you're filming anything, you should come and tell the 109th precinct that you're filming, so that they don't get scared and call the cops. So there's a funny story, I guess, with police involvement. No injuries, though. We were lucky. No injuries. No actual fatalities. So,
that's good.
have you had a holy crap?
One story I could share that's
You want to share a story, Jen?
Oh yeah, sure. I had one with police involvement. We were shooting Cool as Hell with James Balsamo, and I was running from a demon and screaming and such. And 3 cop cars showed up in Long Island, and James Balsamo said, "Well, he's like, that's a testimony to your acting that we would have 3 cop cars thinking you were being murdered. You are getting murdered in the scene after." And it would make sense that whoever heard it would think, there you go. But we explained the situation, and they let us go, so it wasn't a problem. So next question, Jen.
Okay, we got LP Danfall 26. Have you ever had a holy crap moment happen on set where you were shocked by how well something worked on film? Maybe the priest gouging out the eye scene was from Jacko Slasher. That was a pretty holy crap moment. That looked really good. It actually looked like his eyes were getting gouged out. And when in To Love Is to Die, I actually made that prosthetic heart, and I like gored it all up, and I put latex and I don't even know, melted gummy worms on it or something to make it like bloody and gory. Actually did the special effects myself for To Love Is to Die. So I was pretty shocked when it actually came out good, because I'm no special effects whiz, and it looked pretty disgusting. So, but that's what we like, So I guess I was pretty shocked by that.
It looked good.
How well it came out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you, Genoveva. What's the kind of movie that you haven't shot yet that you'd like to shoot in the future?
Well, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist when it comes to my favorite horror genres. So I'm a big fan of like Ingrid Pitt, Barbara Steele, Universal Studios Monsters, and Hammer. I'd love to shoot something that's a lot like a Hammer film, but now, something that's really like very stylistic, something that's really beautiful with some really, really strong actors in a castle, preferably. And I don't know, that would be exciting for me. So.
Cool. That sounds awesome. If you had to pick one favorite role each of you played, what role would it be? What's your favorite role that you've played, Genoveva?
Oh, wow, that's a really tough thing to say. I can't really choose one favorite role, but I would say in general, I'm going to give a couple of examples. I like any role that really challenges me. Like when Christian Grillo asked me to play someone that was 9 months pregnant in Apocalypse Kiss, I want to do that. When Mike Mahoney wanted me to play the mother of a serial killer, kind of being tormented in A Dark Place Inside, I wanted to do that. When Bradley Cranzo wanted me to play this irate kind of boss lady, the kind of like a yuppie and agoraphobia, I wanted to do that. When Jeremiah Kipp wanted me to be in Fear of Blindness and play this tarot card reading, Ouija board using like best friend of Susan, I want to do that. I want something that's really challenging that takes me outside of myself. Playing National Guard and Zombie Hunters was different for me. Having dual roles in The Soloist both playing this member of the soloist, this soldier, and then coming back with a French accent and playing a gypsy later on with a completely different appearance was challenging. Also, Ryan Weber's films, Sheriff Tom being Jojo the Sands Leader, and then coming back looking completely different, creating a whole new character in Witch's Blood as Sarah the Witch. I love anything that's really like challenging for me. That's going to be completely different than what I've done before. That excites me. You know, give me something different. Give me something original. I'm not afraid to be an ugly character, a pregnant character, a different kind of character. Anything that's going to be really challenging and help me evolve as an actor. That's going to help me, you know, just kind of step out of myself. That might even make me a little uncomfortable to do. You know, that's challenging.
Thank you. That's
What
great,
about you, Jen?
Genoveva. My favorite role as an actor. I mean, I haven't played that many in movies, but I was in I Spill Your Guts as a clown, and I was in Jacko Slasher as a clown. So I guess my favorite thing to play so far is a clown. But I was in Escape from King's Park. I was like a punk girl, you know. You know, like one of those crazy kids that goes to the on a ghost hunt to the mental asylum and tries to find ghosts and just, you know, I'm hanging out with my friends like a Blair Witch Project style movie, you know. It's pretty cool. So
can you explain a little bit more about
the any final questions? Oh. Do you have a question? Does it make sense? Is it good?
It does. All
right, what's the question?
Genoveva, it's Sam.
Just tell me the question. I'll tell you.
Oh, hi, Sam.
Have you ever played yourself in any other movie besides King Park, and was it difficult to play yourself in an acting role?
Wow. Well, Escape from King's Park, I do kind of play myself. I play a horror film actress at a convention. No, I felt it flowed pretty naturally. I don't think it was too difficult to play myself. No. No, that was a pretty natural and very organic kind of scenes. You know, it flowed very naturally. It was great working with Bettina Sky in that as well, you know, who's a very strong actress. So it was definitely a pleasure to work on that film. Absolutely.
Yeah, Escape from King's Park.
Maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about Escape from King's Park?
Yeah, Escape from King's Park stars Bettina Sky and Edward X. Young and Robert Youngren, and I'm in it, and Ronnie Karnick is in it, and Fallen Faith is in it, and you're in it, and Bradley Crienzo is in it, and we have this lovely director, Samuel Oswald Stone. I co-directed the film, and it's coming out this month, and you should check it out. It's going to be amazing. Escape from King's Park.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, Indie Horror TV, it's been real, man. It's been fun. I don't know what else to say.
You have a website. Okay. Jen, do you have a website or anything where people can find you? I'm going to be sharing that right now myself.
Okay.
I have a Twitter, Genoveva Rossi 1, Genoveva Rossi 1. Find me on Facebook, Genoveva Rossi 810, or Carrot by Genoveva. Okay. I have a card as well. I can hold on to my card.
This is me. Ooh, sexy picture. Sexy picture, Genoveva. This is me, Jennifer Valdes. www.jennifervaldes.weebly.com. You can find out more about me and my lovely video editing and my acting and my directing and all the things that I love to do. And you can find out about all of our films. Check it out.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jen. It was great sharing this on Indie Horror TV with you.
It was great.
Check out Indie Horror TV, the home of horror.
Indie Horror TV, where horror lies. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.